because we've apparently just kickstarted the soft apocalypse now, this is actually really useful information. Alright, so I'm going to give you a few easy plants that you can't really screw up, and a few good rules of thumb. First up, we have ramps, otherwise known as wild onions. And they come a little earlier. They're one of the first things up in the season, and they're really not mistakeable for anything else because they smell so strongly of onion. So if this is not something you can usually spot from the roadside because they just grow in these dense green clusters. And so you can basically treat them like you would treat green onions or yellow onions. There is one lookalike that could potentially fool you, and so that's the one in the corner here, blue bead lily. But again, the smell really gives ramps away. So if you aren't like knocked on your ass by the smell of onion when you dig these up, it's not ramps. And if it grows with 3 leaves, it's blue bead lily as well. Blue bead lilies also have thicker leaves than ramps, so that's one other way to tell the difference. The next one is wood sorrel, and it looks sort of like clover, but it's not. But it's okay if you mistake them because clover is also edible as long as you're not on blood thinners. Don't eat clover or wood sorrel if you're on blood thinners. They are blood thinners. So wood sorrel, you can tell it because it's these little green shamrocky things with yellow flowers. It can be green or purple, and it has this really lemony taste, not some oxalic acid, which you might have heard of as being a toxin. People do die from it sometimes, but not from eating wood sorrel, eating other types of sorrel. The amount of wood sorrel you would have to eat to have oxalic acid poisoning is really not feasible for a human to actually do. All parts of the plant are edible: leaves, flower, seed pods, they all have that really intense lemony flavor. And the way you can tell them from clover is the yellow flowers instead of this like puff ball that clover usually makes. And their leaves tend to fold in a little more, they have creases down the center. And in clover, you'll usually see that white stripe on the leaf. Right, next up, this is a really handy rule of thumb. If it looks like a raspberry, you can eat it. The biggest issue you're going to have with anything raspberry-like is it ripe when it's red or is it ripe when it's black? Because if it's ripe when it's black, it'll have a phase where it's red, and that can fool you, and that won't taste very good. It won't kill you, it's just going to be really sour. So anything in this genus that looks raspberry-like is edible. You can find them all over, like thimbleberries here in the corner with a really like pink cushiony berry. That is mostly found on the north shore of Lake Superior. But then like blackberries, raspberries, and dewberries can be found pretty much anywhere. And not all of the raspberry-like things are thorny, so you can be really picky and potentially search things out that aren't going to hurt to pick. You can also make tea out of the leaves. Virtually all of these leaves are edible. There's nothing toxic that looks like a raspberry. Now, that being said, anything with glossy berries, you should absolutely avoid. Just as a rule of thumb, never ever eat them. Blue bead lily makes this list. Deadly nightshade, which grows in a lot of people's yards as a weed, and baneberry, which are these two down here. All of these glossy berries will kill you. They won't even just give you stomach discomfort, you will die. So steer clear from those if you're not sure. And then anything with umbels, which is the way the flower grows, where you have a bunch of little flowers coming off from one central point. So think like if you've ever seen a carrot flower or Queen Anne's lace. Anything in this, not everything in this family will kill you, but a lot of it will, or it'll give you the worst rash you've ever had in your whole life. There are some edible things, but even the pros really have trouble telling them apart, so it's better to steer clear and not bother with it. And so if you're trying to identify things in the wild and it's your first time doing it, it's best to get confirm the ID from 3 separate sources. And I've put some good ones here. I like Abundantly Wild because it has edible plants for the entire Midwest, and it comes with recipes and some really good pictures. And then Santa Kyla isn't focused on edible things, but it's just really good field guides. It'll make it really easy to identify something you're specifically looking for, and he'll usually tell you if it's poisonous. And that's it for me. Isaac?
Say I want to start making like a garden where I grow plants that I know are not poisonous. Is there people I should call and have them look at it?
Probably your local university. A lot of them will have a plant or agriculture department. I am currently that person for University of Minnesota who gets to refer to all of the weird edible plant questions.
Nice.
There's usually someone who can tell you. There's some herbologists I know kind of sprinkled around. So if you know one of those, they're always really good at plant ID.
Okay.
Taylor.
What do I do if it's too late, I misidentified it, and I ate it?
Go to the hospital. Puke.
What if I'm in the wilderness?
Puke.
Okay.
Full out, no mercy.
hope
Go
for
to
the
the
best.
hospital.